الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين صلوات. Elders, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Discussion today is going to be on verse number 21 and 22 of Surah Yusuf. Last week I explained that when the person who went to fetch water from the well, Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam found that opportunity and he caught hold of the bucket, or he went inside the bucket and he was taken out of the well. And then he was taken as a slave. And this caravan moved from there up to Egypt. And this is what verse number 21 and 22 is talking about. The arrival of Nabi Yusuf and what Allah Azza wa Jal had planned for him. وَقَالَ الَّذِي اشْتَرَاهُ مِن مِصْرٍ لِإِمْرَأَتِهِ أَكْرِمِي مَثْوَاهُ عَسَىٰ أَن يَنْفَعَنَا أَوْ نَتَّخِذَهُ وَلَدًا وَكَذَلِكَ مَكَّنَّا لِيُوسُفَ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَلِنُعَلِّمَهُ مِنْ تَأْوِيلِ الْأَحَادِيثِ وَاللَّهُ غَالِبٌ عَلَى أَمْرِهِ وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسِ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. This is verse number 21. In Egypt at that time there used to be a slave market. And when Nabi Yusuf was brought by the people of the caravan, he was brought into the slave market. Normally in the slave market, the first chance was being given to the chief minister of that area. And the chief minister of the area would look at a slave and decide whether he wanted that or not. In other words, the best of the slaves would be bought by the chief minister. And they knew that the first opportunity was being given to the slaves because they knew that the chief minister is going to pay a higher amount of money. So when Hazrat Yusuf was brought into the market, the chief minister, looking at the face of Nabi Yusuf, realized that this is a person who possesses high qualities. This is important to understand that. He possesses high qualities. And therefore he decided that I am going to take this boy. Remember that age of Nabi Yusuf, when we started our discussion, I mentioned that the maximum age given at that time when he saw the dream was 11 years. Some of them mention as 9 years, some of them mention as 7 years, some of them mention as 11 years. So the highest age given is 11 years, and Nabi Yusuf is being brought there as a child. So the chief minister buys Nabi Yusuf, and after buying him, now it says here, وَقَالَ الَّذِي اشْتَرَاهُ مِن مِصْرٍ, the Egyptian who bought him. Right? Let's just do translation word by word. And qala, said, alladhi, the one, ishtarahu, bought him, mim Misr, from Egypt. So the person who bought him was from Egypt. But over here in this verse, you will not find that it is written that it was the chief minister. It is not written that he was Azizul Misr. Okay? But you will find this in later verses. For example, when you come down to verse number 25, when Zulaykha wants to seduce Yusuf, and Yusuf runs away from there, and when he comes near the door, then it says, وَأَلْفَيَا سَيِّدَهَا لَدَى الْبَابِ, and they met the husband at the door. Okay? This is in one verse. In the next verse, I think, verse number 30, it clearly explains that the lady who calls the other ladies of Egypt, remember about the incident of cutting the lemon, okay? There it is clearly mentioned about the wife of the chief minister. But in this case, it is not mentioned at all. When he brought Nabi Yusuf to his house, he told his wife, limra'atihi, to his wife, akrimi mathwahu, right? Have an honorable, a respectful abode for this boy. Right? Let's take the maximum age to be 11, okay? Have honorable abode, honorable dwelling for this boy. Asa an yanfa'ana aw nattakhidhahu walada. He looks at two possibilities. Perchance, possibly, probably, he will be useful to us. أو نتخذه ولدا. The second possibility is that we will take him as our son. So from this verse, it is very clear that the chief minister did not have any son. If he had sons, he would not have talked about it. He really wanted a son. So he says to his wife, أَوْ نَتَّخِذَهُ وَلَدًا. We will consider him and take him as a son. Then Allah says, وَكَذَلِكَ مَكَّنَّا يُوسُفَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. And this way we established Yusuf on the land. Okay? وَلِنُعَلِّمَهُ مِنْ تَأْوِيلِ الْأَحَادِيثِ. So that we can, or we would teach him, we would educate him about the interpretation of sayings. It does not talk here interpretation of dreams. لِنُعَلِّمَهُ تَأْوِيل. Ta'wil means interpretation. Ahadith means sayings. Okay. Wallahu ghalibun ala amrihi. And Allah Azza wa Jal is the master of the affairs, or of his affairs. Allah Azza wa Jal has total control over his affairs. وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسِ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Majority of the people do not know that. Okay, we will come to understanding why Allah Azza wa Jal has power or has total control over his affairs. Verse number 22, Allah says, وَلَمَّا بَلَغَ أَشُدَّهُ آتَيْنَاهُ حُكْمًا وَعِلْمًا وَكَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْمُحْسِنِينَ. When Nabi Yusuf reached to the age of maturity, we gave him two things. We gave him wisdom and we gave him knowledge. آتَيْنَاهُ حُكْمًا وَعِلْمًا. We gave him wisdom and knowledge. وَكَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْمُحْسِنِينَ. And likewise, this is the way we reward the good doers. Okay? Let me just explain over here that this last part وَكَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Allah Azza wa Jal is telling us very clearly, any person who possesses excellent qualities, right? What were the excellent qualities that Nabi Yusuf possessed? By the time he reached to the age of bulugh, so even if you take to the age of bulugh to reach to the age of 15, example, okay, it is possible a person may reach to the age of bulugh at the age of 13 also. Some may even reach to the age of 12. Quran says, وَلَمَّا بَلَغَ أَشُدَّهُ آتَيْنَاهُ حُكْمًا وَعِلْمًا. We gave him two things when he reached to the age of bulugh, to the age of maturity. What were those excellent qualities that Nabi Yusuf possessed? Hazrat Yusuf possessed several excellent qualities. Number one, purity. Number two, piety. Number three, he possessed the quality of patience, perseverance. Number four, he possessed the quality of what we call as recite salawat, please. He possessed the quality of reliance on Allah Azza wa Jal. Right? We find purity, we find piety, we find tawakkal ala Allah, we find sabr. All these excellent qualities we find in Hazrat Yusuf before even he reached to the land of Egypt. I don't want to recount because we have already done all of that. Right? He possessed all these qualities. So Allah is saying, وَكَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْمُحْسِنِينَ. And we also, any person who is muhsinin, he is good doer, then Allah Azza wa Jal will equally reward him. Okay? Now, I want to pick up this point. There are many points over here. I want to pick up 2 points over here. And these 2 points that I want to discuss today is, number one is, Wallahu ghalibun ala amrih, and ataynahu hukman wa ilma. Okay? One is for our purpose of our aqidah. We tend to think, we meaning human beings, okay, tend to think that Allah Azza wa Jal works in the same way as we work. But the system of working of Allah is totally different from the system of the working of human beings. And that is the reason why we complain. We complain sometimes when we are faced with difficulties. We say, but why is Allah not answering my dua? Why is Allah not answering for what I am asking from Him? Why am I undergoing this trial and calamity? Right. Because our way of thinking is our way. It's a human way of thinking. The way of working of Allah Azza wa Jal is totally different. Let's take this example of Hazrat Yusuf. If we go through the whole story of Nabi Yusuf, the final thing in the life of Nabi Yusuf is that he became Azizul Misr. He became the chief minister of Egypt. Is that true or not? Yes, those of you who have studied about the life of Hazrat Yusuf, finally, Quran tells us that he became the chief minister of, right, Egypt. Now think about this. When he became the chief minister of Egypt, How did he become the chief minister of Egypt? Sometimes Allah Azza wa Jal uses the enemies in order to give success to his ibad, to his servant. So think now. If the brothers of Hazrat Yusuf had not plotted to put him inside the well, he would not have become a slave. Right? Then he was put in the well. Then he comes out as a slave. If he was not sold as a slave, then he would not have reached Egypt. Had the chief minister not bought him, then he would not have known what is the life that is going on between the very rich people and the very poor people. Okay. Had he not known that, it is possible that he would not have known about the interpretation of dreams. Had he not known about the interpretation of the dreams, he would not have become the chief minister. The plot was started by his enemies, that were his brothers. Okay? And where did it reach him finally? It reached him to the stage that he became the chief minister of Egypt. So many lessons over here. Number one is for us to understand. We say in English, Allah works in mysterious ways. But in order to accept that Allah works in mysterious ways, we are not fully convinced, because we want the result in the way we are thinking. But if we want the result in the way Allah wants the result to be, okay, we will be satisfied, and for all that period we will remain patient, we will remain His obedient servants, and we will do exactly what is required to be done. Okay. This is one point. You understand, this is point of Aqidah. Why tawakkal on Allah, reliance on Allah is so important. Right? Because in the way Allah Azza wa Jal works, it is beyond our understanding. No wonder that Imam Ali bin Abi Talib salawatullah wa salamuhu alayhi, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa is explaining to us, and you look at the khutbah in Nahjul Balagha, khutbah number 1, that it is not possible for a person to express and to explain about Allah Azza wa Jal. Okay? It is beyond our capability, because Allah Azza wa Jal is someone, or is a being who works in His way, but He has total control over all His affairs. There is no one who interferes in His affairs. The second point I want to make is, what is hukm and what is ilm over here? What does Quran says? وَلَمَّا بَلَغَ أَشُدَّهُ آتَيْنَاهُ حُكْمًا وَعِلْمًا. Right? It's already 20 minutes, and I don't want to really go over 20 minutes. But this one message, I want to pass it very, very clearly. We need to understand this. Some of the Mufassirin have said, there are many interpretations. I'm leaving them out. Maybe inshallah, a week after, next week, I will not be speaking here. But inshallah, a week after that, maybe I will give you all the interpretations. But one interpretation that Mufassirin have said is that hukm over here means that Allah gave Hazrat Yusuf that power, that he was able to control his lusty desires. Okay? And ilm means that Allah Azza wa Jal gave him the knowledge. Some of them have said knowledge of religion. Some of them have said that it is wahi and nubuwat. But the point to be understood, elders, brothers, sisters, this is very important point. And I will quote one hadith of the Holy Prophet over here. The point to be understood here is that when a person controls his desires, hasad is one of the evils of ruh. Greed is one of the evils of ruh. Right? Tama and others. At the same time, the sensual desires that a person has. Okay. All these, if a person controls, it is known that Allah Azza wa Jal will grant that person the light of knowledge. How many of you have heard about Ibn Sirin? Ibn Sirin is considered amongst the Muslims to be one of the best interpreters of dream. There are many books that Ibn Sirin has written about interpretation of dreams. About him it is said that he was a cloth merchant. He was selling clothes. He was very handsome. One day a woman came to his shop and she was attracted by the handsomeness of this man, Ibn Sirin. Somehow she plotted and she brought Ibn Sirin to his house and then closed the doors of her house. And then she seduced Ibn Sirin, trying to tell him or making all those efforts and pointers towards that Ibn Sirin should have an illegal relationship with her. Ibn Sirin was controlling totally himself. And this woman was insistent. Finally, Ibn Sirin said, okay, I will answer to whatever you are saying, whatever you want, but give me a moment. He went to the washroom or to the place where there was a lot of dirt of the house, and most probably I think it must be toilet, and he filled himself with all the filth on his body. Having done that, he came in front of this woman and he said, now I am ready. And the woman said, get out. Which Ibn Sirin was very happy too. Immediately left the house, went away, of course, cleaned himself. And then those of people who have studied about the life of Ibn Sirin said, it is after this incident that he got that knowledge of interpretation of dreams. So when a person controls, especially his sensual desires, Allah Azza wa Jal will grant him Allah Azza wa Jal will grant him the light of knowledge. The Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam says in one hadith, Al-ilmu nurun yakdhifuhu Allahu fi qalbi man yasha. Ilm is light, it is nur, which Allah will grant to the one whomever He wishes. This ilm, this knowledge which the Prophet is talking about, is not that knowledge which you go and take it from the teachers, go and sit in front of the teachers and learn from there. No, it's not this knowledge. This ilm is a special knowledge. It is like a light which enlightens the heart of a person, right? And this, all the ulama, look again, look at this verse. What does Allah say first? وَآتَيْنَاهُ حُكْمًا وَعِلْمًا. So when a person controls his desires, when a person purifies his own nafs, Allah Azza wa Jal will put the light of knowledge into his heart. Control of sensual desires over here means not exceeding or doing something which is haram. That's the meaning of it. Right? Otherwise Allah Azza wa Jal has given the power, and He has given that sensual desire in the human being,